Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Today we're speaking with a 1990 Navy Academy grad who is actually not in the midst of a second career as a cyber expert or something that you hear all of these guys getting into. But I will say you're a bit of a hero, certainly in West Annapolis, if not around Annapolis, in that you saved one of the treasured businesses that was in danger of going out. We're here today with Joe Kirby, who is the new owner, relatively new owner of Great Harvest Bread in West Annapolis, right on the corner that everybody knows, the little red building right at the corner of Melvin and Ridgely. Thank you so much for inviting me into your bakery. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. Thanks, John. Thanks for taking the time here.
You know, we know about the red building. We know that it's here, and hopefully everybody has stopped in at one or many points in time. If you haven't, shame on you. You need to do that, except on Tuesdays, because that's when they're closed. You're very new to this. I mean, you came in here in March of 25, I believe.
So just a few months ago, yeah.
I mean, but this has some history to it.
Yes, it's actually been around. It was founded in the year 2000, so this is its 25th anniversary year.
Wow!
And I knew it from going way back, as I mentioned. Moved here in the late 90s after I got out of the Navy, put down roots to raise a family here. And I have to say, more times than I can remember, bringing my then toddler daughters, Maggie and Lucy, when they were little kids, we'd come to this bakery, 2 or 3 times a month, and even more in the summertime. So I have that family connection to it that dates decades before I came on the scene as a potential owner and so forth. And I just felt like there's so many families that have a similar connection to that. You're right. It's a gem. It's an icon in the area. And so I just could feel palpable. You could feel it in the air that people were very upset that it was going to close.
You know, I've always said that Annapolis had a shortage of bakeries, and that's changed a little bit right now.
Certainly.
I grew up thinking the traditional bakery where you had like you had some bread, and you also had cupcakes and those types of things. And for the longest time, the only thing we had was Great Harvest.
That's right.
And now you've got Sweetheart's Patisserie, which does the macarons,
all the fancy French things, yeah.
Which we will absolutely correct you if you call it a macaroon, because the macaroons have got coconut and they're a biscuity thing everything else. But this was such a unique place, and when the old owners said, I think it was losing the lease, and we've done our time, and it's probably a combination of what do we do? The scepter of it closing was horrible. And you obviously realized that was a problem. And how do we transition from, Navy, which obviously was a little bit ago, but I mean, into baking from a prior career?
Right. Well, I did a number of things after the Navy, and most recently what I had been doing was I was an owner-operator of a residential apartment building in downtown. So I was a landlord, and that's what I was doing most recently. But
so this was obviously an upgrade.
Yeah, certainly a build on, I did that for 23 years, and I was ready to make a move myself from that. But it's not such an outlier idea when you understand that I've been an amateur chef my whole adult life. I'm the kind of person in a crowd, that people always say, you should go rent, you should go open a restaurant. Not few people really realize what it really takes. You have to be a lot more than just a good cook to run a restaurant. So it never really presented me with an opportunity to go and do that. So last year, building on that, again, having become an empty nester and having a little more free time, I went off and got I went to a training program that resulted in a master baking certificate. Not really knowing where it was going to take me. I just wanted to burnish my own knowledge around baking, having been an amateur chef for all those years. I just thought, well, that's one area that I don't feel very comfortable in. So I got that training again, not really know where it would take me. And then sure enough, when I read in the Capital newspaper in January, an article that made the front page, because this is a big deal, that it was closing, I immediately said, no way, no how, that can't happen. And came over, zoomed across town and talked with the owner, the person I'm acquiring it from, who's himself is class of '88. So we had an instant Navy connection.
Oh, neat.
So we could have a conversation. And I came over and just said, what's going on? Why are you closing? That was only 2 days before they were going to close. So it was very much the 11th hour. And, we went back in the office and, had a conversation. And 2 hours later, we had a handshake agreement that I said, I'm ready to take the baton. And I just we worked out a time frame for me to get my feet under me. At that point, of course, I had to hire staff. Everybody that he had formerly employed was long gone by that time.
Sure.
And so forth. So I had to build it from scratch. It was kind of funny. It felt like we got this 25-year-old startup because in many ways, everything had been turned off. The supplier relationships, the networking and getting all the ingredients and so forth, all had to be turned back on, and that takes time. Just snap your fingers. And then hiring, I've got a very high bar for really good talent, people that are excited about being part of the rebirth of this location and so forth. And I'm proud to say and happy to say that by about the third week in March, I had enough of a crew to reopen. We reopened on March 20th, and we've been going gangbusters ever since.
That's awesome. So you were shut down for 3 weeks?
It was shut down for about a month, mid-February to that third week in March.
Okay, which probably isn't a critical time. It may or may not be, but
in the wintertime, people want their comfort food. So there were a lot of people driving into the parking lot with long faces until we opened. But yeah, we were happy to get open.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the bakery. I mean, you specialize in breads and treats or goodies.
Yes, goodies and treats.
What have you there? And you do have what I really love about this is that you do have a rotating menu that changes up everything because. Man does not live by white Wonder Bread alone, I guess.
Certainly not. Let's hope not.
But I mean, there's just so many different variations that are out there. And I know during COVID, I mean, everyone, the big joke was everybody was learning how to do sourdough.
At home, yeah.
Right. At home. And I mean, you bring it out here to the masses. I mean, you're baking fresh here. I mean, I'm looking at an oven that's probably about 12 foot tall by about 20 foot wide.
That oven can do 60 trays at a time. It's got like a carousel on the inside. It's really amazing. We open these like pizza looking doors with inside when it's turned off, you could actually climb inside and stand up in that oven. It's that big. So it's really it's nothing like you would have in a home. But yes, we take great pride, and it's a great Harvest legacy that, everything is scratch made, made same day. So my team, part of the talent that I went out and found, there's people that have a real passion for baking, who love coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning and working in that serenity and quiet and no traffic and so forth, and making a great product. And it's so everything you would see on the shelves on a day that we're open, it was made that same day, and it's all from scratch.
Which is really, really refreshing because, I mean, there is and I don't even want to say it's a competitor over in the town center that trucks their bread in.
They bake it at a central kitchen and truck it over.
And you don't know when that was baked. I mean, you go in and you don't smell the ovens working and the fresh baked bread. And I mean, there is a comfort. Certainly a comfort to do that there. Do you have a most popular bread?
I think the most popular bread we make is our Dakota bread. It's a whole wheat bread with 4 different types of toasted seeds in it. So it has a really good hearty sort of crunch. That's the close behind that would be our cinnamon chip bread, which is a white bread with little cinnamon drops all throughout it. And I tell you, that makes dynamite, the world's best French toast.
Yeah, I was just going to get into that because with the cinnamon chip, I did that. And the recipe you have on there, which I will, here's constructive criticism, expand on that recipe.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, that French toast that you've got on there is amazing. I mean, you take the bread, you cube it up, you put the eggs, you put some vanilla, cinnamon, sugar, let it soak, put it in a pan.
Slam dunk, yeah.
Real easy to do, and not the most diet friendly, not the most keto friendly, but
but when you want something special,
it makes for a great Saturday or Sunday morning breakfast.
It certainly does.
My thing that I've done with that, though, is actually I'll let the bread get a little stale, if you will, just so it's not quite as fresh going in.
Okay.
And I don't know what, it just adds a little crispness throughout it or something.
Absolutely.
That's a little bit better, but it's a great recipe. And again, you want to go to greatharvestannapolis.com. And it's right up there. I think it's like the third main menu on the right. It says recipes, and it's down there.
And if you don't want to make it yourself, I'll give a shout out to one of our key restaurant partners, Excellence Restaurant over on Housley Road.
Oh, do they?
Their chef landed on our cinnamon chip bread as the best bread to use for their French toast. So if you look at their menu, they have a cinnamon toast French bread that is to beat the band. And he is in that chef's hands. He makes a world-class French toast of it. They get a number of our loaves every week.
I love that local businesses support local business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As opposed to, you're not going to see too many Cisco trucks pulling up
No, that's right.
out of here, which has, the same thing that every other restaurant has.
Yeah. And we repeat that with several other restaurants. Our Bean Rush Cafe over here in West Annapolis carries all of our gluten-free offerings because that rounds out their assortment. And, it just goes on. And it really reflects my desire to really engage with the community and be very local-minded.
Well, that does bring me up to point. You mentioned they handle your gluten-free stuff. And and as diets in America are changing, you've got the vegans, you've got the vegetarians, you've got the gluten-free, you've got all sorts of different allergies that come in. Are you able to accommodate them? I get not to the point like little Timmy has an allergy to some weird
obscure thing. Yeah.
Obscure thing. I understand that you're not going to be making a huge, but as far as gluten-free, that's probably the first one we're going after. When I took it over, the previous ownership had a gluten-free day of the week. Every Wednesday they had, and only on that day. And I just felt like it's become so prevalent that people that have that sensitivity need it every day. So we expanded it to having every day that we're open, which is 6 days a week. We have a full assortment of at least one bread and 3 sweets, a muffin, a scone, and a cookie. So this week, for example, we had a gluten-free chocolate chip cookie, which is fantastic, and so forth. So we have it every day, and we're all making all that in-house. I will say with gluten-free, and I've had some gluten-free stuff, tried it, and most of the mass market stuff that you might find in the grocery store that's just prepackaged as gluten-free tastes like very poorly flavored cardboard to me.
Yes, that has been the knock on it for years.
When you get into somebody that is actually baking it, that is working on the ingredients that go in there, it is a world of difference. And I think it's wonderful that restaurants are realizing that one size does not fit all. We do need to help people out that have a gluten intolerance there. I know that Carroll's Creek went nut free, and Jeff was telling me that it was just so difficult to do because it was not just a matter of okay, so don't order any more peanuts. It was okay, so does our flour supplier
produce
have produced nuts in there? Was it transported in a truck and stuff like that? And it all stemmed from his own family. Some member of his family is really super allergic to it. And he said it was funny that once we did it, nobody knew. Nobody knew or cared. They're like, okay, well, nuts are right. It's still a great place to eat.
Do
you do a lot of business with churches?
We are supporting a St. Luke's food pantry, and with some of our overages and so forth, they're picking up for every week and supporting their outreach to the homeless community and so forth, but not like catering events for church events.
No, I meant like when they get up and do the mass, and it's like,
I see. Yeah.
And the breaks and.
No, we don't presently. That's certainly a growth area we could look at. The churches that don't use the little thin wafers. That's what I grew up with in the Episcopal Church. But if there are some that are breaking actual loaves of bread, we could certainly we'd love to talk to them.
Many churches that are out here, right here at the corner of Ridgely and Melvin. It's great that you're sitting there working with the local restaurants. You mentioned a couple of them there, and I would think that I was talking to. Dr. Bob Graw, who owns Bowtie Bisons up in Davidsonville, and he's really reached out and the Bowtie Bisons, largest bison farm on the East Coast, is in
Impressive.
So many different restaurants. And it seems like a natural that Great Harvest would be in the restaurants. And are you actively working on programs to get?
Yes. In fact, a number of the restaurants that I'm a proud member of that business association for West Annapolis. So we're starting with the ones that are local to us, and we have a good clientele, a good referenceable. We're already well established with excellence, as I mentioned earlier, and they're talking to other restaurant partners and so forth. And some of the catering success that we've had, some of the attendees at several catered events that are restaurant owners. Rutabaga down here at the end of the street here is a juice bar, but they're very interested in branching out as well. So it's like anything, a networking thing, an introduction. I'm happy to come in and bring with me some samples and so forth, and they can see what different.
I see how you do your business here. You feed them, you give them good stuff.
Tell a few jokes.
Put a little cookie crack in there. And...
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
But any restaurant, you can supply. Just from the dinner rolls to everything. Any baked goods that you would need.
Absolutely, we can do that.
We also want to talk about. Great Harvest is also a franchise, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, there are about 150 all around the country.
Okay, and a lot of people will sit there and, I mean, this is sort of a standard mantra that I've gone to say, oh, it's a franchise. It's like a big corporate thing and something like that.
Oh.
And that can not be any further from the truth. When you have any kind of a franchise, whether it's sneakers or bread, what the franchise is essentially advertising, is in my opinion. You were paying a fee to them, however it's structured, to use their name. Great Harvest Bread Company. And people know that. I mean, if I go into Ohio, I'm going to know that. And I'm going to know that that's going to have probably a similar
lineup. Yeah.
But they offer you the ability to be independent as well, don't they?
Yeah, we have a part of the agreement is that we carry a certain assortment, which are the gold-plated favorites that they've developed the recipe for over decades, and we would be foolish not to be to continue and honor that legacy. But we do have some latitude to innovate and create our own things. And so, for example, my head baker Charles created a Maryland bread, which is Old Bay seasoning and cheddar cheese. We couldn't think of a more Annapolis-based bread. Goes great with crab dip. We can offer it in slices, and you can do a shrimp salad sandwich on it and things like that. That's one example. Another one of my baking people created a bread pudding loaf and cupcakes, which is also really delicious. It's spicy with nutmeg and cardamom and cinnamon and so forth. Those are things that you're not going to find in any other Great Harvest, including the one up the road in Columbia and so forth, because we developed it here. So yeah, we do have an ability to innovate locally.
Do you prefer to do your own thing? I mean, it's got to be it's got to be challenging and rewarding to a chef or a baker,
certainly,
to be able to come up with something and say, I think this is going to be good, and then finding people going, oh, this is
off the hook. Yes. So yeah, that's very gratifying. But I get that same response from people that as you probably have experienced, we have a breadboard with samples. We can cut you a slice of that Dakota or that cinnamon chip I might be talking about. You don't have to just take my word for it. You can taste it before you buy it. So I have a eureka moments every day even with all the Great Harvest, kind of thing. So, I take ownership, and those are my babies just as much as the things we might have created initially. Yes, there's a feel good factor when something that you created that doesn't exist before you get that light bulb moment. That's exciting, but I get charged up about introducing all the Great Harvest things just as much.
And so how many loaves do you bake a day? Do you have
we do 9 different loaves every day. So like this list,
that's 9 different flavor,
different types of bread. Yeah.
Right. How many loaves do you have?
The quantity of loaves is probably on the order of about 60, 65.
Wow. Okay. It was funny because I asked Sean down at Naval Bagels how many bagels he does in a day. He's like, I have no idea.
They probably do thousands in a weekend day for sure.
That's obviously a different type of
exactly. Yeah. Right.
Smaller little thing there. But I know that you mentioned when you took over that there was some potential in the future. And I mean, you're young enough, you got a couple more years ahead of you before you're getting the walker and the old age home and everything else. So what's the future look for Great Harvest here in Annapolis? I mean, obviously you've secured the lease. You've secured the business. It's booming. You're cooking 6 days a week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got big plans for the place. I wanted to initially come in and turn it and sort of stop the bleeding, if you will, and figure out turn it around, because it had been in a kind of a gradual decline and so forth. I wanted to really get in and understand why that was happening and what could I do to address it. I'm happy to say that 4 months in, I found plenty of low-hanging fruit around that I can do that. So the job 1 was turning that around. Job number 2 is getting the word out to the public that we're actually open. And believe it or not, we've been open for about 4 months, and I still run into people. Like I was at Eastport Rocket and somebody chatted up, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, I thought that closed, 6 months ago."
Right.
So there are Annapolitans who somehow don't know that yet. So we just did an advertising direct mail campaign to like 30,000 homes around the area that just the first thing it says is we are open, just getting that sunk into the zeitgeist of Annapolis. My plans are, in the immediate term, are to upgrade the equipment. This oven is almost 40 years old, and it has its issues, of course. We're going to do some internal production upgrades, and then in conjunction with our landlord, we're going to do some construction at the building and expand the walls, the very walls of the building, so that we have room for a little cafe seating for the first time in the building's history, some 2 or 3 cafe tables, so we can offer lunch and do made-to-order sandwiches and so forth. Beyond that, I mean, there's room to, as a franchisor, I have a 10-mile radius around this particular site that I could expand. And I have in mind to expand and put another location over on the Eastern Shore, because I got people driving across the Bay Bridge to come here.
Oh, wow.
That's how committed people are to getting this product. So I think a store over there that's a small little boutique, you know, in the right place, could be another outlet of this store. And also towards the west in the Watchapel and Gambrels area, it looks pretty hungry for a bakery too. So I've got those kind of plans in the next years.
It's sort of funny. It seems that Annapolis, Watchapel, or Annapolis, Gambrels, and Severna Park is sort of like the triangle for multiple businesses that have it. I think several of them, here and whatnot. And the Eastern Shore is, I just love the shore.
Absolutely, I do too.
You guys also do coffee, and you've got all so you are at this point, you are a cafe.
We certainly, in the sense that we have fresh brewed coffee from another local business, Chesapeake Coffee Roasters is our chosen vendor.
Are they still up in Crofton?
They have their roastery in Crofton, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I remember way back when they first opened.
Talk about a great smelling place to visit. You walk in and it's all being roasted right there in the building, so it's fantastic. Yeah, so that's another thing. I'll be taking the coffee game up to the next level. We currently order. It's all fresh brewed and it's delicious, but we don't have currently the ability to do lattes and cappuccinos and things like that, which the market is hungry for. So we need to get the right kind of machine and some people, a trained barista in here and so forth. all that is in the very near term.
What's your preference personal? Do you like the sweets or the breads?
I really like it's hard to pick a favorite or anything, of course, but the Dakota is my personal favorite of the breads. And I just like the fresh ingredients. It's got no chemicals or preservatives or anything like that. And all of them are just a standout. You can tell they were made by hand and made with fresh ingredients from scratch that very day. So I favor those. The hearty bread, make a sandwich out of something like that. It's really terrific. I'm not a big sweets person. The other thing I do is I'm a yoga teacher, and I have been I've been a yoga practitioner for many years. And so that lifestyle and so forth lends itself. I'm not a big sweets person in general, actually, personally, but I have to take one for the team and do some testing.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job.
Tough job. Someone's got to do it. The quality assurance factor. I've had to do that. So that's caused me to have to double up a little bit in my exercise routine. But the sweets are just the cookies in particular, and the very creative use of the riffs on the scone, the standard English scone. We do a lot of different things with cinnamon chip, a mocha chocolate chip, sweet rolls with raspberry and cream cheese filling, which is positively decadent. So there's a lot of exciting things that go on.
Well, you're a perfect solution for I'd say catering, for whether you're doing sandwiches. I mean, if you're looking for bread and whatnot, if as you mentioned, with a crab dip and just everything you have, as well as the sweets and stuff like that. As far as a dessert tray, I mean, it'd be ideal to come in and be able to, order up a big dessert tray of cookies or something like that. Offices in town probably, should be coming here for their conference room to throw out
we're happy to put a tray like that together. And again, another local business, we're supplying Julie St. Marie Catering, which is just over here on Moorhead. They do a fantastic job, and they call on us frequently to do rolls, dinner rolls, and so forth. Like that Maryland bread, when we created it, they did a thing at the governor's mansion back in May, and apparently it was quite a hit.
Right.
So.
That's why, I'm so glad that you are supporting, and other businesses or local businesses are supporting you. And again, I think I probably say it in every single podcast that we do, but I mean, all businesses begin on a main street somewhere, and that could be Ridgely Avenue, it could be Main Street, it could be West Street, or whatever it is, but it's all small community, locally owned businesses. Okay. Because we're going to see Joe at, maybe not Dallas Point, because you said your daughters are sort of flown and grown, but at the soccer game or something like that. But I mean, this is the person, well, you said you were in Eastport Rockin'. Okay. So I mean,
I'm definitely out and about in the music scene, for sure.
And you're going to find somebody sitting next to you at a bar, and then that's really what makes it go. I mean, if I buy a loaf of bread here, okay, you're going to take the $2 or whatever it is that you profit out of this, okay, and you're going to spend part of that in growlers,
local business,
and turn around and give it right back to the community, and that's so important. Briefly, you mentioned and kind of glossed over, but you said you talked about your overages, and you've got a partnership with St.
St. Luke Food Pantry. They do an outreach to the homeless mission and so forth in town. We also support Be More Baltimore, which is based, as the name would imply, up there. We're also addressing that population, and we're also, some of that overage also goes to our local EMS, right? The fire station right down the road, and the police over on Taylor.
Got to keep them.
They're always happy to see us. And I'm doing things with veterans organizations and things of that nature. So yeah, there's a lot to give and a lot of opportunity to do that around, and you just got to take advantage of it.
And I do admire a business that does that. I mean, I know there's so many that will throw stuff away.
Oh.
And I get that there's maybe some expiration dates and some products, but when you sit there and you look, and I've seen somebody in Philadelphia one time, it was a cheesesteak place that, had stale rolls, and that's not their brand, in a plastic bag into the dumpster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's not the freshest roll, but you know what? There's plenty of people there's
plenty of nutrition in that.
That's could quite possibly save somebody's life to be able to give them the food that they need. So that's just wonderful that you're able to do that and to get it back out there. And obviously, I imagine that's obviously balanced with a business where you've got to sit there and say, okay, well, how many loaves or how many are we going to make?
We don't want to have overages, but it's virtually impossible to predict exactly how much you're going to sell in a day. That's just the nature of the business. So we will always have some amount of overages. If we're smart business people, we minimize that, but we're happy to know that if we do have it, it's got, it's going to find its way to a deserving public that we're serving.
Out of the different careers, Navy, landlording, yoga, whatever else may have fallen in there, and chief baker.
Yeah.
What's been the most rewarding for you?
Well, they all occurred at different ages and stages of my life. So they were each time. I hope to say I was doing what was feeding me at that time. Right out of the Navy, I worked for Circuit City. Actually, I was a regional manager in this area for that venerated
big old consumer building down on Jennifer Road.
So the big red plug building on Jennifer Road at the mall was one of my children, as you were. I had 6 stores and so forth. So I did that for a number of years. That was exciting and fun and helped me cut my teeth. I'm applying a lot of those leadership lessons that I got leadership from the Navy and the Academy, certainly, but the business leadership and running, hiring, and managing hourly employees, all that kind of stuff. I really cut my teeth in that area, which is what made me feel confident I could do this. Once I had acquired the knowledge of how to do a baker thing, as I mentioned, you got to know a lot more than just how to do the food creation to run a business. So I learned a lot from that. I was for a number of years a recruiter with Corn Ferry International in downtown DC, executive recruiting. I was a headhunter for a number of years because I spoke the language of leadership from my background. Like everybody that I graduated with, that was a comfortable subject. My clients at that time were the Raytheons and Lockheed Martin and so forth. I spoke that language to the military side of things. So I've had a number of different things, but I have to say what I'm doing right now is the thing that I'm most passionate about, and I have the most hands-on creation, and as it's a realization of a lifelong dream to have my own bakery, and I couldn't be more happy with it.
That's fantastic. And most people don't realize that when you look at and I don't particularly like the word entrepreneur, but I mean a small business owner. Very rarely are they the ones that are sitting on a beach in Tahiti, just sipping a margarita, waiting for the check to hit the direct deposit.
Sure.
I mean, not everybody's Bobby Bonilla, which is we're happening to be recording on Bobby Bonilla Day, right? Gets $1.3 million every year.
Yeah.
But I mean, you are a bit of everything. I mean, a business owner is the janitor. A business owner is the sole employee that's here when everybody calls out sick.
True.
Here at Great Harvest Bread, you are the baker. You are the cashier. You are the coffee, the pseudo barista.
Right. The repair, handyman and whatnot.
Whatever. But then again, you've also got to worry about paying the rent, paying making sure that the oven is still continuing to work. You've got the pressure, which nobody would understand unless they've been in business, that you need to put food on your employees' tables.
True.
And that's a lot of stress, and there's a lot that goes into owning your own business. So most of it is done out of a labor of love, and it's really evident with you, Joe, that you've had this love of baking and you've sort of landed on your sweet spot, it seems.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like I said, a realization of a long time dream, and particularly to have this particular location that is, a venerated gem of Annapolis. It's an honor and a privilege. And when you talked about taking care of your employees, I feel like the first step in taking great care of customers is taking great care of your employees. So the jobs that have been created here are well paying, and they're reliable and good communication, and there are no surprises. People know what their schedule is, and all the things that it takes to do. I do. It's all a labor of love, and it's an honor and privilege actually to be in that position. We are hiring. We're always looking for people that are passionate about and can really engage and have a fun. This is a fun place to work. It's highly, lucrative and whatnot. And, people with or without baking skill, people that have baking skill, will put them right to work and teach them the Great Harvest way. And people that don't have baking skill, will teach you how to do scratch baking. Even if you're working the cash register, you're going to get your hands on and help out with making bread at some point or other. So if you like that kind of work and you engage with the customers and so forth, go to our website and you can apply there.
Well, I am glad that you are here. I am glad that you swooped in at the 11th hour and were able to work something out with the prior owners to sit there and say, hey, this is worth saving. Mm-hmm. This is something that the community wants. Mm-hmm. This is something that the community needs. And you've taken the bull by the horns and done it.
It's been a pleasure.
I guess the only thing now that we got to do is just make sure that everybody knows, unlike the person that you met in East Puerto Rico, and that you're open.
We are here. Yes.
Right at the corner of Ridgely and Melvin. It's a red, sort of a rustic red building. You can't miss it. It sits on the backside of the RAR Brewing Chessie's Wharf. And greatharvestannapolis.com is the website. I can't recommend enough just to, next time you are here, any day but a Tuesday, come in and check out some of the goodness that is baked in this little tiny building here in West Annapolis. And also check out West Annapolis if you haven't been. But I mean, you've got some wonderful coffee shops. You've got ice cream. You've got Evelyn's, which is one of my favorite breakfast spots. Lots of cool little shops. My girlfriend loves Stella up at One Petticoat Lane, way up at the end. And West Annapolis is just free parking. It's maybe not the most, well, you've got free parking. You've got a lot, but just in town, they've got the
parking's not a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you may have to walk a couple block or a couple storefronts, but it's not the challenge that you see downtown.
Certainly not.
And, and you've got some wonderful restaurants there. You've got Ingrano, which is...
I want to give a shout out to the West Annapolis Business Association, because they put on a number of public events where they'll close the street and do a street fair, street festival. They did a spring fling in early May, and it's just a wonderful, vibrant area, and there's live music and all kinds of things.
Sure, they're known for the Oktoberfest, the Christmas market, spring fling. So pretty much every season it's...
Exactly.
Always a good, vibrant section of town. And then sort of on the outskirts, you've got Growls and you've got Naval Bagels and drawing a blank on the pizza place's name, which also has great pizza. Bella Italia. GreatHarvestAnnapolis.com, right on the corner of Ridgely and Melvin. There is the main entrance, I guess, is right on Ridgely. So you just turn right into the parking lot, or left if you're coming over the bridge from Bestgate Road, I guess. And come on in and get some goodies.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.